Did you know that today matters? Hey, it's Dr. Mike, and when I experienced my stroke to my thalamus, I remember going to my neurologist and being so confused and so disoriented. And he told me that things would improve, but I just had to be patient. I had to wait for my brain to heal. And let me tell you, I don't know if you're like me, but being patient, like, that is not easy, especially when your brain is broken and injured, when sounds are overwhelming, when sights are like looking into the sun, when my emotions were broken. And it was just so frustrating because weeks before the stroke, days before the stroke, I could do everything that I was doing. And then the stroke happens, and all of a sudden, I could do so very little. It was hard for me to even spend 5, 10 minutes with my kids. I couldn't take my kids to school. I certainly couldn't work. Days just felt overwhelming and monotonous and like I was crawling out of my skin. But what I realized as recovery progressed is it wasn't just about waiting. It was about learning how to live again. Specifically, it was about being able to recognize that today matters. Each day matters. And as my recovery has continued, what I've also learned is that being able to value each day is important no matter what we're experiencing, whether you're experiencing a stroke or not, whether you experience strong anxiety or not, whether you experience loss or not, whatever it might be, how powerful it is when we're able to learn the value of each day. No, I think our mind tends to underappreciate what we can do today because oftentimes what we can do today is not going to lead to some huge outcome. And so our mind starts to say that almost in a way, today is insignificant. And yet it's the actions that we take today that will continue to build as we do them the next day and the next day and the next day. And eventually they become very meaningful. So what we do today is so very important. And if we can just recognize that our mind is probably going to say, oh, and it doesn't really matter. Today doesn't really matter. Can we catch that thought and can we recognize that greatness, that achieving our goals, that living out our values all start with today? So today, what is something that you could do? What's a meaningful action you could take in service of a relationship that's really important to you? What's an action you can take in service of something you've been wanting to build or create? What's an action you can take in service of other values that are really meaningful to you? Again, our mind can be so good at discrediting these actions. But I believe that where we truly learn to flourish, where we truly learn to experience life fully, is when we recognize, not just here, but when we experience that today indeed matters. And as I have continued to recover, that has been what I have found. Now, sometimes that might look like we might not be able to do as much today as we did yesterday. Maybe we can do more, but that's okay too. It doesn't have to be that we're always looking backwards. Well, I have to do more today than I did yesterday. We can learn from the past. But I think it's really meaningful when today can simply be today. So as your thoughts show up, as your emotions show up, as memories show up, maybe as there's doubts and uncertainties that come to the surface, can you notice those? Can you make room for those and still take those meaningful actions today? Because as we learn to value today, as we learn to be able to practice gratitude for the day, it's in that place that we are more present, that we're more focused, that we're more intentional. and when we're more focused and intentional and present, that is when each day is able to become the gift that it indeed is. So I leave you with this question. What's a way that you can value today? Because when you value today, when you live as though today matters, it's in that place that life begins to open up, to become exciting, to become